What is up, AKAPADers? I'm Peter A. DeLuca. Welcome to AKAPAD's Audio Audacity Podcast. This is your absolute source for original movie opinions, all set around long-form conversation. Because, look, I can just talk movies endlessly. This podcast is designed for it. I strongly believe that film criticism is dead. It's dead, people. YouTube killed it. I'm sorry. YouTube and clickbait articles killed film criticism. But I am here to save the day. And welcome. Thank you. I love you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Today we are talking the 31 Days of Dread, if I can say that right. The 31 Days of Dread is my annual podcast event where I review and discuss with you one horror movie a day for the month of October. October 1st is tomorrow, and if you're listening to this, you get the idea. Okay, look, let's hit that intro and get back to it. Yeah, so like all anecdotes aside, every year, I started this 2 years ago, the 31 Days of Dread, and look, it definitely helped me hone in on my internal clock when I discuss things. This clock that I now have, that I thank all of you because there's so much energy I get from my listeners and just even casual people that listen to me. It just kept me going because there was definitely a few dark periods during this course. And look, we're already up to episode 220. How impressive is that? That blows my mind. Episode 220 right here. Yeah, and so along the way, the 31 Days of Dread was this idea that it was almost let's just do something big. Let's do something epic. And let's do something that's so repetitive that I could pound away and whittle at my skills at this, podcasting, discussion. Basically, at the AKAPAD Audio Audacity Podcast Studio, sitting down here with myself, Diamond Dallas Cat, that's my bro, and you. That is it. It's me, my cat, and the microphone. So it took some time, and I needed a almost like a trial period. So in 2017 it began. It continued in 2018, and now it's continuing into 2019. And along the way, I got so much better, so much more honed in, so much more aggressive of planning out my content, thinking about it, leading into it. This year, I will have a batch of pre-recorded episodes ready to go in order. So I don't go through the grind that I did 2 previous years. This is why when we develop things, we stick to it. This is one of my long-running baselines. Of even then, when the podcast was called Dream Warriors. You have to stick to these things, and you have to understand that it takes a very long time for things to come to fruition, for the audience to find you, for you to find your voice. The two of them are going to be a little bit of a convergence. I'm still struggling to find my voice within this, but I think I'm getting better. And, based on the enthusiasm from some of you, I think I'm on the right track. But getting back to the my internal clock comment. Look, my good friend Brian got married, not too long ago, and I had to give a speech at the wedding, and I wanted the speech to be from the heart, so I didn't write anything down. And I kind of had this internal clock in me where I wanted it to be at least three minutes long. The internal, I keep saying eternal. The internal clock nailed, everything landed on its feet. I think my joke or my overall pun for the speech didn't land with the people that I didn't know it was an inside joke. But then again, what really does, and hey, shooters gotta shoot. You gotta go for these jokes. So, but either way, so doing this podcast, it definitely grew, and there was like the skill set that just stated within me. And like I have to say, like this podcast alone is so addicting. I truly love it, and I love all of my interactions I have through it. So getting back to the 31 Days of Dread, what is the 31 Days of Dread? Like, how long is it? Like, what are we doing? Look, it's 31 days, one episode a day, and I try and do like a 10-minute plus long discussion per movie, and I don't do many anecdotes around it. I just wanted it strictly to be about the horror movie, and like we're moving on to the next. And this year I kind of have something cool. I have something a little bit special. I can talk to you right now about the first 10 movies because they're already watched, they're already recorded. How amazing is that? And like let's just get right into it. And again, this is a part of my skills as a programmer and as a producer, and just figuring out what some of the what my trends are and what people respond to. I could say trends overall, but I'm more interested in my analytics and what's happening on my end rather than what the rest of the internet and rest of the world are doing. And so my big idea for like the first 10 episodes of the 31 Days of Dread was going to be themes, like 2-episode themes, meaning like clowns, then werewolves and stuff like that. And then when it comes to episode 11, I was going to reevaluate everything. And by that point, Netflix should have a run of movies that they've released this year. So I was thinking about doing a Netflix run. And then, maybe somewhat of a film series. And I kind of want to get into Child's Play. So the overall arc, the overall programming is evolving. It evolves every year. Like, last year I found Steven Sommers, completely fell in love with all the Steven Sommers movies I haven't seen, like Deep Rising and Odd Thomas. The previous 2 years, one of the running themes I came in late was the Universal Monsters. I was somewhat thinking about doing some Godzilla, because they're not horror movies, but holy crap are they horrifying. The Godzilla King of Monsters, the newest one, that's a completely horrifying movie because these creatures just have zero regard for human life and they just go at it. And it's like, how does that not scare the hell out of you? But yeah, so let's just get into it. Episode 1, Day 1, tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's going to be Midsommar. Midsummer. A lot of people are talking about this movie. A lot of people have seen it. A lot of people are still talking about it. There's 2 versions of this movie. There's a 2-hour, 30-minute version, roughly. And then there's a 3-hour-long version of this movie that supposedly hits some of the relationships and some of the fates of the characters a little bit differently. If I could come in and if I could get that director's cut, if it comes up on Amazon Prime, in the meantime, I may do my first double tap. I may talk about this movie twice. Number 2, we have James Gunn's. James Gunn's, a lot of hype around James Gunn right now. He's got Suicide Squad 2 coming out, from the world of trauma, and we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We have Brightburn. Day 2 will be Brightburn. October 3rd, Day 3 will be Parents. This is okay, so Day 1 and Day 2 are modern films, okay? That's the modern horror. That's the theme for Day 1 and Day 2. The theme for Day 3 and Day 4 is cannibals, and Day 3 will be Parents. Day 4 will be Microwave Massacre. Day 5 and Day 6, the theme is clowns. We have Terrifier and Night Watch. Night Watch has ended up on the worst list for a lot of the horror movie lists on for 2018. I don't get it, but anyway. Day 7 and Day 8, we have Urban Legend, 2 other films. Universally panned trash. But the Bye Bye Man, and we have the Slender Man. Sorry. I had to watch them, and not as bad as everyone made them sound to be. So, that's also a reoccurring theme in AKAPAD's Audio Audacity podcast. Movies that are supposed to be bad are usually never as bad as people lead them on to be. So, whatever. And then rounding out the top 10, or the first 10 days, is Dog Soldiers and The Howling. And the theme is werewolves. Now, those two movies are two of the best of the genre. And I didn't even see them. And I'm right now, I'm so relieved. I feel so good seeing those two movies at this point. So, look, those are your first 10 days of the 31 Days of Dread. And, I just wanted to do, like, a lead-in episode to get everyone ready to what's coming. Now, previously, the episode numbering stopped. And I did a lot of work at the beginning of the year to reboot within continuity, like within thread, almost like a comic book series, like the old Marvel, like Journey into Mystery, going into Thor, like the old Marvel way of numbering. And I still favor it. I have no problem if they combine volumes and revert back to like original volume and increase the numbering and match up the numbering. I really don't have any issue with that. Some collectors do, some continuity freaks do, but the continuity in comics is so broken right now, it's inconsequential. It doesn't even matter. So I did something similar. I was inspired by the early days of Marvel and how Marvel capitalized on discovering characters and trends and just turning a series into the series of that character that was like the breakout character. Journey into Mystery and Thor, and later the Mighty Thor, is a very good example of that. So the podcast went from Dream Warriors to the one you're listening to now, AKAPAD's Audio Audacity. But when it was still Dream Warriors, the numbering stopped for the 31 Days of Dread, and I really didn't know how to approach it. Everyone, you guys were like, Pete, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just simply explaining that the episode numbering will continue. So the next episode will be episode 221, but it will be day one. Day one, episode 221. Like, however you want to look at it. The thumbnails will echo that. We're keeping the numbering, but we're also counting all the way up to 31. And we're rocking and rolling. And I just wanted to also leave that point. Now, along the way, one of the traditions of the 31 Days of Dread is a Netflix horror series. One year last year was The Haunting of Hill House, which was flat out amazing. Just even thinking back on that, I might have been disappointed with the last episode and the wrap up, but I don't know. So much of it, again, long form conversation. A lot of that still sticks with me. I think a complete home run. I would love to reanalyze that later, and then for 2018. Or 2017, it was Stranger Things. Now, I have yet to speak about Stranger Things Season 3 on this podcast, and I'm thinking about doing that as well. And there's somewhat of a movie I could buddy that with when it comes to Stranger Things. And so I've been playing with that. But anyway, look, everyone, just get ready. Day 1, 31 Days of Dread. It's going to be Midsummer. Day 2 is going to be Brightburn, modern horror. 2 movies you really do have to see. I think there was little to be disappointed between the two of them. Wonderful ideas in both of those movies. Just joyful stuff. But look, everyone, I love you. And let's do this. Let's freak each other out. Let's okay.